The Nigerian government on Wednesday approved a 5-year action plan for the promotion and protection of human rights in Nigeria. Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, revealed this to the public after a decision was ratified by Nigeria's Federal Executive Council. The action plan, expected to have started running in 2022, will end in 2026. It was formulated by various stakeholders and various ministries, departments and agencies of the Nigerian government. Abubakar Malami, who doubles as Nigeria's Minister of Justice, also confirmed that the Nigerian government has complied with a judgment which asked it to pay 135 million naira to the family of victims of the 2013 Apo Six killings. In addition to the Human Rights Protection and Promotion Action Plan and the dictates of the National Human Rights Commission, the government also said it is working to see its citizens get more protection in compliance with the terms of the protection of journalists. Human rights abuse, especially by members of the Nigerian police force and some influential members of the public, are serial occurrence. Politics headquarters tonight, it will take a holistic review of the action plan and what it means to ordinary Nigerians. And joining me to do justice to this is a legal practitioner, Barrister Evans Ufele. Warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us on PHQ.
Thank you.
Barrister Ufele, what motivated the formulation of the Action Plan 2022 to 2026 for the promotion and protection of human rights in Nigeria? What does it aim to achieve?
Well, what the action plan aims to achieve is to upscale compliance with human rights issues and have international best practices instilled in Nigeria as it relates to the rights of the human person, captured in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution and the human rights, fundamental rights protection rules of Nigeria. Now, it's a 71-page document which draw out plan upon which there will be an upscale in the human rights condition in the country, and then to pay compensation to victims of human rights abuse, those who have been over the years whose rights have been violated, especially the Apo Six, which is distinctively stated there. An action plan, except that it has some trappings that are confusing. Trappings that are confusing because the 71-page document did not even give proper room and elucidation as to how they intend to tackle the root of the problem.
So what does he say exactly? What's the significance of this action plan?
Well, the significance is to bring to bear and to upscale performance in addressing human rights conditions so that the security agencies and the citizens will have a harmonious understanding that human rights supersedes every other human conditions that is at play in the country, except that when you have a plan should address the root of an issue. And the root of the issue is that our law enforcement agencies, especially the police, are not well trained, or they are trained and they refuse to use the information or guidelines of their trade to enforce human rights. And the Attorney General as a person ought to be putting more emphasis on the way policemen are recruited into the country, the condition under which they are recruited, and the kind of training they get, and how that training can translate into civil society and the management of human rights. That is what is expected of the Attorney General, because he is the Attorney General of the Federation, not the Attorney General of the President.
Yes.
But you find out that what the action plan is addressing is trying to address issues of violations
Instead of
violations.
tackling the root causes.
Yes, instead of going to the root causes. There's such a thing as cause and effect, and the cause comes before the effect. Okay, that cause have not been addressed. Okay, so and then human rights issues supposed to be a lifelong thing. If you look at the Geneva Conventions, okay, international laws and international policies on human rights are eternal because the human condition is tied to continuity. And now you're having an action plan that is between 2022 to 2026. Okay, so what exactly is this going to do? Because they already have judgments against the law enforcement agencies to pay certain amount of money, and they are trying to comply with those payments. This same government, as we speak, that is talking about action plan, have Nnamdi Kanu, for example, who is in prison, whom the court have said they should be released, was never released. Have some other persons who have been in prison.
Clear cases of human rights violations.
Abuse, clear cases of human rights abuse that the action plan is not addressing, but it's addressing some other surreptitious issues that we do not understand. So I don't think this government is sincere with the human rights, because if you look at human rights properly, it starts from chapter 2. The socio-economic right, chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, captures our socio-economic rights, which includes that Nigerians, the commonwealth of the country, must be managed in such a way that it will be distributed to everyone, and that people will have the right to education up to university level. It's in our constitution, okay?
Yes.
And they tell you it's not justiciable. It's not justiciable. Why should it not be justiciable? The countries that got independence at the same time with us, okay, who also had copied that same section of the law, like India, Malaysia, and the rest of them, have that particular section of the socio-economic rights enforceable. You can go to court and take government to court to enforce this right. But in Nigeria, you cannot do it. You can only enforce chapter 4. That has to do with the right of life, right to assembly, right to peaceful movement, and the rest of them. And even the chapter 4 that is enforceable, okay, that same right to life was taken away by the Apo Six. It was taken away by the police.
Yes.
Okay, that's how we had the Apo Six event.
And that brings me it brings me to this point, Barrister Ufele. Hardly a week goes by in Nigeria where we don't see on social media and in the news police PROs talking about complaints by the public, videos of members of the Nigerian police force maltreating and violating the rights of ordinary Nigerians. We have this action plan by the Federal Executive Council. How does it trickle down to the constable on the streets, to the men and women of the Nigerian police force? And what impact is it likely to have on the observance of human rights in Nigeria by those who are law enforcement agents and are responsible for these violations like the Apo Six that you just mentioned?
Well, the document is very academic, because when you talk about the Federal Executive Council that passed it and made it approve this, how many policemen do you have there in the Federal Executive Council? How many of them understand the gamut of the human rights situation and how citizens should be protected? You need to go to a position and see the way this rank and files, okay, treat Nigerians. Once you get into the police station, the policeman tells you have no right to whatsoever. He believes you have no right to whatsoever. Okay, they subject you to all kind of torture and all that. And these rank and files are not invited into the Federal Executive Council meeting, or are not exposed, okay, to these human rights issues that they need to understand. Okay, because we have far turned the Nigerian police force, because we have far turned it into a business. People have to pay huge sum of money, okay, to even have to complain about a case. You have to mobilize the police. They will tell you they have no vehicle, they have no biro, they have no nothing, okay? You have to pay for mobilization. Even when they arrest the other party, they get the other party and they also bill the other party to pay. By the time both sides have paid money, the police becomes confused as to how to do the case.
It's almost like a business venture.
Yes, it's a criminal organization. That is the truth. The Nigerian police is a criminal organization, purely a criminal organization. I've been involved in this.
You're speaking from personal experience and interaction with the police in the course of your discharge of your duties.
They come up with a lot of gimmicks. The senior officers would pretend as if they are not involved in the racket. They send the junior officers to interact with the complainants, okay, and the suspects. And everything you hear between both sides is how you must drop money so that the case will be handled in a particular way. There's no merit in the Nigerian police when it has to do with kids. And when they get on the road, they're also extorting money from people. They are all with AK-47 every day, on the streets. They can't even allow you to drive your car. I mean, you can't even move freely. It's either they are intimidating you here and there and all that. And this is quite painful. I have been in UK for the past 3 weeks. I've never seen policemen with AK-47 here. I've never seen any with AK-47. The few I've seen, I've never seen anybody that is extorting money from anyone, stopping and causing unnecessary traffic all over the place. Just because, and when they do these things, they open fire at citizens. We have countless number of cases that we have these issues. Okay, this same government that pretended over the killings of the NSAS protester, this is the same government that's talking about an action plan. And this same government that have abused the right of persons who are in prison as we speak for offenses that have not been proven. And for offenses that the court have said they should be freed, but the president is sitting on their release. Is this same government, is this same Federal Executive Council that is talking about an human rights action plan? I think the Nigeria requires serious international sanction.
Now, Barrister Ofeli, as someone that interacts regularly with law enforcement in the course of your duty, what do you think, where do we think we begin to change the tide in terms of modern policing and understanding that they're there to protect and serve? There's the Nigerian Police Service Commission, you have the Nigerian human rights organizations and all of that, civil service, civil society, but still the police still goes about its duty. Is it a policing problem or a Nigerian problem? And how do we fix these human rights issues with the Nigerian police force?
It's a policing problem. First of all, we have to raise the bar at the entrance level in the police force. This thing, you get SSC. Before it used to be primary school certificate. Now it's SSC. I think the qualification, we need to raise it up. Okay, we have a lot of graduates roaming all over the place without jobs. I think to join the police force, you should be a graduate to start with, because at that level, your cognitive, your perspective to life must have been altered by education, and the animalistic tendencies that are usually exhibited must have been thoroughly eviscerated from the human person. So let's take the standard to BSc. If we put it at BSc level, now their pay should be increased. Okay, it should be something that is good enough to take them home and take their families.
A livable wage.
A livable wage, and then good insurance policy and package. Okay. That will include medicals for their children. And if Nigeria is able to take care of the needs of the average person who joins the police force, then take away AK-47, take AK-47 away from them, please. It's a civil society, we are not at war. Take that AK-47 away. Give them good vehicles and make them, give them a befitting status so that they can interface with civil society with dignity. Okay, what we have today is a big sham. I mean, you see a police vehicle coming, you are scared because the vehicle is not washed. Sometimes the operatives, the police officers are drunk as early as 8 a.m. And this level of indiscipline, okay, nobody watches them. There's no proper discipline in the force. And this thing they do, that they have to make returns.
But when you say there's no proper discipline in force, sometimes when we see videos on social media of errant police officers, there's summoned to force headquarters in Abuja, and we see swift judgment. Some of them are demoted and some of them are dismissed from the police force. So I believe there's some level of
no, that is when they are
accountability.
caught. Maybe that is when they are caught. They're committing a serious offense, maybe like extortion, and it has gone viral, or maybe they went to steal, or they sell ammunition and all that. Serious issues like that is when you see them. They don't demote them for being dirty. They hardly demote them for getting drunk and unkept. Okay, you just see. I mean, there are ethical issues. Okay, there are serious ethical issues. There are serious disciplinary issues that should be addressed, okay? And these issues stem out from the way they were trained, the kind of perspective they got from the college. Now, that is the kind of perspective where from college, you already have the tendencies to extort, to collect bribe, and subvert the legal process, okay? You get judgment against the police. You find them making a lot of cutting corners. You can't even execute judgment against the police force, except where you have the one that is very pronounced, and you have public outcry on the issue. On daily basis, there are in my chambers, we have a lot of judgments that we have gotten against police force. But go and enforce it. You use the TSA, you cannot garnish a police account. The only police account available for you to view is just, I think, one account, which has 18 naira in it. And we have judgment of 40 million, 20 million, 10 million against the police force. You cannot enforce it. So it tells you that the police, they are not ready to change the system. They are not ready to change the system because of the kind of money they make. You hear things like that the operatives should go out, put a roadblock, and then bring returns to the DPO, who will now use it to run the station. Okay? So the kind of policing we are running is a big problem for us, and we cannot grow as a society with this level of policing.
Quite an unfortunate situation with the Nigerian police. But away from the police, what's the current state of human rights in Nigeria, and what are some of the most pressing human rights issues?
So the most pressing human rights issue has to do with human rights abuse generally. Okay. Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, guarantees the right to life, okay? And that right to life must be upheld. If you look at Section 46 of the 1999 Constitution, it says that once a person, okay, is at a position where his right is being unlikely to be breached, the person can bring a fundamental right action before the court of law. So it is clear that you can actually go to court once your right has been or is likely to be breached. There's a provision already there. But what you have is that you have this rampant abuse of the rights of Nigerians across. Okay, sometimes even the rights to move freely is breached, okay, by certain, and it's not just the police, even by citizens, within citizens who violate the rights of one another. Sometimes the right to dignity of human person. When you employ people in an organization, for example, you underpay them and subject them to servitude, to treatments that are arbitrary and conduct that should not be condoned. I mean, most employers also are guilty of these human rights violations. Okay, so it is holistic. I mean, even the police force who are pointing fingers at, they are not from the outer space. They are from within this same society. And the employers also who violate the rights of their employees
also Nigerians
are from this same society. It happens everywhere. People
I guess we have to look inwards and check ourselves too, because, I mean, like you said, they're not aliens, they're from society. So we need to basically look at the man in the mirror. Thank you very much, Barrister Evans Ufeli, for being a great guest as always. I do appreciate your insights and your contribution to the program. This is PHQ on News Central Television. We'll go on a quick timeout, and when I return, I'll give you something to chew on.